Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash, and next double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the great millstone who teach and who rule well, peace, blessings, and safety. To all you sincere Akim, keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of whether people hear or whether they forbear. Alright, and this is going to be a reply to this video that I saw off of this is a GMS elder out of Baltimore, Maryland. All right, and a lot of brothers are doing replies to this, but everybody's kind of going at it from different angles. I want to go in and debunk, edify, and give the correct understanding of all the points that this lady made in this video. All right, so first I'm going to go ahead and play the video, and then I'm going to bring out some scriptures as always, and Lord's will is edifying to the elect. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it.
They just believe the woman.
This week we've been talking about the cult known as IUIC, Israel United in Antichrist. So we're going to continue to discuss the fallacy of this cult. So their founder, Nathaniel, and I want to say maybe Malachi, I don't know if he was the founder or not, but anyway, doesn't matter. They say that they are the original descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, but it's interesting to note that the organization of IUIC was not founded until 2003. So let that sink in. All right. They claim that they are a organized nation of people that were scattered during the transatlantic slave trade and the sub-Sahara slave trade. Now, we know, those of us who know our history, we know that all of those things happened centuries after 70 AD, which was the destruction of Jerusalem, which is really, how the nation got scattered. But for the sake of time, let's just keep it moving. So they claim to be descendants from the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, but what happens? So we'll entertain this for a second. What happens when the nation is scattered? Okay, wherever they settle, they usually tend to intermingle or intermix, with other nations. And so in this case, that's exactly what happened. After many centuries of intermingling, intermixing, the original nation is no longer the original nation. They are now a new nation, depending on, where they settle. Americans, we are American. Africans, they are Africans. If you're from Europe, you're European. Just depending on where you settle. Okay, so many times we read in the Bible where the Israelite nation was taken captive, and one may say, okay, well, they always, kind of rebound in a sense after those original scatterings. Yes, that's true, but the one that happened in 70 AD was very significant for many, many different reasons, and I'll explain why. So previously, when the Israelites were taken captive, it was just for a teaching, a punishment in a sense. And God would tell them, after so long, which we'll just say Daniel, 70 years of that, and then you can come back together and try this again. Okay, and that's what happened. But in this particular scattering, which was the final scattering, God himself said that it was going to destroy Israel for good. And that's exactly what happened. All right. So look at it like this. In 70 AD, this is when the Roman general Titus and Josephus pretty much destroyed Jerusalem. Nothing was left standing. Now, what was so significant about this is that the Jews lost their genealogy records because the towers and temples and everything was destroyed. This is what prevents a Jew today from tracing their ancestry back to a particular Jewish tribe. So nobody today knows, what tribe they may have even descended from. And again, you would probably be such a mixture. You would probably belong to all 12 at this point on. All right. And anybody that was not killed was then taken as a slave. Many of them went to the mines in Egypt. Okay. And many of them were sold in slave markets, and they could have gone anywhere. All right. Again, intermingling, intermixing, no longer pure lineage. So nobody can trace their lineage. So back to what I was saying. For the destruction of physical Israel, his new gospel would be preached. And his new gospel says that the new nations, which is all nations, will now be known as spiritual Israel because they're going to come from everywhere.
All right. Man, this lady really put herself in the line of fire. She just don't know. And it's funny, a brother, he said it looked like she was reading from a script. And the more I watch that video, the more I see it. All right, but I'm just going to go through and address some of the points that she brought out. Okay, so the first point I want to address is, what happened in 70 AD, okay? And also that the fulfillment of the curses, all right, not only does it play out over time, but also it tells you in the scriptures that it would happen in the latter days. First, I'm going to go ahead and read exactly what curses I'm speaking about, all right, because this is one of the main scriptures that we use to identify who the Hebrew Israelites are, okay? So this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 45. It says, "Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee." All right, so if you read previous verses in this chapter, it goes into a list of different curses that will come upon the children of Israel for their disobedience. All right, it says, "And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever." All right, meaning for a time period, a long period of time, until the Lord comes. So it tells you in Revelation 22 that there should be no more curse. All right, Revelation 21, Salakia. "But these are for a sign and for a wonder upon thy seed, all right, forever," as it says, okay? So that's one of the ways the Lord left these curses on the children of Israel as a sign so they know who they are in the last time, all right? It says, "Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee." All right, now, 70 AD, the Israelites were, pretty much pushed out of Jerusalem, but this wasn't actually fulfilled until what happened was known as the transatlantic slave trade. Okay, and the key to that is as you see right here, "And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee." All right, but also serve thine enemies in hunger and in thirst and nakedness and in want of all things. All right, even into this day, we still have to go to our enemies for everything. Okay, we're dependent on the government. All right, when I say we, I'm not talking about the hopeful elect. I'm talking about just the Israelites as a whole. Okay, we are dependent on Babylon the Great. All right, for pretty much everything that we partake in this society. Okay. If you want to get food, you got to go to the grocery store, who's controlled by Esau. All right. If you want water, if you want running water to be able to take a shower, take a bath, you got to pay a water bill. All right. And how do you pay that? By going to work in Esau's system, getting money through the system that he set up. All right. And so when you get that check, you got to pay taxes on the money that you worked for. All right. So pretty much, you're in servitude. All right. And you got to go to your enemy. All right, for the want of all things. All right, if you decide that you're not going to partake in his system anymore, all right, then what's going to happen? You're going to be destitute. You're going to be on the streets. All right, this is because we're up under the curses, okay? So, once again, these were left for a sign and for a wonder, and this didn't happen to anyone else. All right, it only happened to the children of Israel, okay? If you look up if you even look that term up, all right, yoke of iron, all right, you see what comes up. Okay. See, this is, I believe, Kunta Kinte from the movie Roots. All right, but you're not gonna see any, European 1948ers with yokes of iron on their neck. All right, there's no images of that because it never happened. All right, they were never sold to the Grecians and enslaved All right, that only happened to the actual children of Israel, and the Lord left it as a sign and for a wonder. All right. Now, also, I think it's Deuteronomy 31. Okay, it tells you that this would befall the children of Israel in the latter days. Okay, and we are definitely in the latter days as of now. So, more into this time period. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Okay. So, bear with me. Salakia. Okay, yep, here it is. Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 29. It says, "For I know that after my death you will utterly corrupt yourselves and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you. And evil will befall you in the latter days, because you will do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands." Okay, and that's exactly what that was talking about. All right. Now, another thing that she mentioned is pretty much how in 70 AD that all the records and all that stuff was destroyed. Well, also going back into the times of slavery as well. And 70 AD, when you read the book of Revelation, it talks about a great falling away. That's when it was talking about. That's what it was talking about. All right, when the abomination of desolation is set up. All right, and that's Esau. Jeremiah 17 and 4. We'll get that in the KJV. All right. So this is pretty much the beginning of the Israelites losing their heritage. All right, Jeremiah 17 and 4. It says, "And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever." All right, and that was really truly fulfilled. All right, with once again, as I said earlier, the transatlantic slave trade and the reverse transatlantic slave trade. All right, because a lot of people don't know that the so-called Latinos and so-called natives of this land, which is the northern kingdom of the Israelites, they were being sent back over into Spain and also to other parts of the Americas to go into captivity as well. All right. Now, but once again, this is all part of the curses. All right. But it said that thou shalt discontinue from thine heritage. This is part of us not knowing, who we were, which is why we had to be reawakened. Okay. Now, once again, this happened in the latter times, as it said in Deuteronomy 31st chapter. Now, another point I want to go into that she brought up, all right, she said that the Israelites would be pretty much destroyed forever. And that's, once again, man, just obviously it looked like she was reading from a script, but this is doing nothing but proving what, what we already know, that the Christians, they don't deal with prophecy. They don't really understand prophecy at all. All right, the Israelites will never be destroyed. Okay. This is Jeremiah chapter 31. In verse 35, it says, "Thus saith the Lord," okay, "thus saith Yahweh, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name." Okay. It says, "If those ordinances depart from me, from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever." So he says, if the sun, all right, he set up the ordinances for the sun to come up in the day and the moon to come up in the night, all right, which divided the seas when the waves roar. Okay, he said, if these things cease to happen, then will I cut off the Israelite seed of Israel, all right, from being a nation. All right, so obviously the sun and the moon still goes up, all right, every day and every night. So the children of Israel are still here. Okay, the actual physical seed of Israel is still here. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go into the blue letter and get that word seed. All right, Jeremiah 31 and 36 is where it was. Let me see. I'm just curious to see what it says. I believe I already know, but I'm also studying as well as I'm doing these lessons. Okay. A seed, it says posterity, carnally a child. Okay, so carnal means flesh. Okay, so the posterity, the actual seed. All right, posterity, all future generations of people, descendants. Okay, so it's talking about the seed Let's get that again. Let's read it back. Okay, it's talking about the actual physical seed. All right. Oh, Salakia. Where's that? Jeremiah 31 and 36. If those ordinances depart from me before, if those ordinances depart from me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Okay, so obviously they're still up. So the actual physical descendants of the children of Israel are still here. Okay, it says, thus saith Yahweh, if heaven above can be measured and the fountains of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast out all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Lord. All right, it's not possible to do. Okay, it's not possible to do. So anyways, that's a baseless claim, but see, that's part of the agenda to try to push that universalism, the replacement theology. All right, saying that the physical actual seed of Jacob has been eradicated, and now the Lord is changing over to delivering the spiritual Israelites, which is a false doctrine. And you can't be a spiritual Israelite until you without first being a physical Israelite. Okay, because that's who the Lord came for as concerning the flesh. And let's go ahead and prove that. Romans chapter 9 and verse 3. It says, for I could wish, this is Apostle Paul speaking, for I could wish that myself were accursed from the Hamashiach. All right, it says Christ, for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of God, and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, the Savior came, who is over all, Yahweh blessed forever. Amen. Okay, so that's who he came for as concerning the flesh. All right, the children of Israel. Okay, so the actual physical children of Israel. So that being said, all right, they're not going to be cast off. All right, but they're trying to, like I said, they're trying to push their doctrine of replacement theology. All right, which is false. But the Israelites did discontinue from their heritage. All right, and this is Isaiah chapter 44. So because they discontinued from their heritage, they had to be reawakened. All right, and the Lord did it through His Spirit. Actually, matter of fact, before I get this, let me get the book of Baruch chapter 2, and I'm gonna get Baruch chapter 2 and about verse 30. All right, going into that great awakening, which is spoken of in multiple places all over the Bible. Revelation 11, Ezekiel 37, Isaiah 44. All right, Baruch chapter 2 and verse Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am the Lord their God. For I will give them a heart and ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name. Okay, so he says that in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. All right, now how is that going to happen? Okay, because the Lord is going to pour out His Spirit upon them, and they're going to remember that they're Israelites. All right, this is Isaiah 44 and verse 1. Yet now hear, O Jacob my servant, and Israel whom I have chosen. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob my servant, and thou Jeshurun whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour out my Spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. See, so that word seed, all right, as I said before, it's talking about actual physical descendants. Okay, and what are they going to do? And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses. One shall say, I am the Lord's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel. Okay, so when the Lord pours His Spirit upon them, all right, when He pours His floods upon the dry ground, they're going to spring up, meaning they're going to rise up, stand upon their feet, and they're going to declare that they are the children of Israel. All right, and that's the Great Awakening. And that Great Awakening has put Esau in great fear. That's the reason why he's got people like this lady who's obviously, like I said, looked like she was reading a script. You know, it's another Christian probably paid off. You know, probably giving a script and giving some money. Said, just read this, make it look believable. All right, it tells you right here. Okay, Revelation 11 and 11. And after 3 days and a half, okay, about at the time from 1619 to 1969. That's about 350 years. All right, that's the time when we first came on those cargo slave ships to the land of our captivity. All right, and when we started to wake up about the late 60s, early 70s. It's at 350 years. All right, 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Heavenly Father Yahweh entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. Okay, so remember, they're going to spring up and remember themselves and call themselves the children of Israel. All right, and great fear is going to fall upon them which witnesses. That's the reason why Esau is hiring agents. You got all kind of bug outs and false prophets, all right, trying to cause confusion because they think that they can stop this great awakening from happening. Because they know that once the Israelites wake up, the remnant is sealed, then that means that their time is coming to a close. Okay, another false society. I just want to touch on that. All right, about the Israelites being no more. That's false doctrine. All right. Next thing she said about the mixture. Okay. Numbers chapter 1. Salakia. All right, Numbers chapter 1. First, there's no such thing as mixed. All right, you are the seed of your father. Okay, Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day and the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Okay, so they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. Let me highlight that. Okay, so you are the seed of your father. Israelite man, heathen woman, the baby's an Israelite. Okay, now, a lot of people don't like that, but you got to understand the woman is just an incubator. All right, the man, he's in that word. You go to that word husband. All right, when a man wifes a woman, okay, when a man takes a woman as his wife, that means he's took her, he's penetrated her. All right, and that word husband goes back to being like a gardener, a planter of seeds. All right, like that's a fancy word for husbandry, is a fancy word for pretty much gardening. Okay, so when a man takes a woman and wifes her, and he sticks his rod inside of her, he plants a seed, and the spirit is in that seed. Okay, so it doesn't matter what race or nationality or even biblical heritage or seed line the woman comes from. It's all about the man. Okay, you see that over and over throughout the scriptures. Many of the men of the Lord, all right, and Israelite men had heathen women as wives, concubines, whatever, and they impregnated them, and the child still came out and was considered to be an Israelite. Okay, so there's no such thing as mixed. Now there will be a variety of people. All right, there will be a variety of people that come from different nationalities. All right, remember, nationality just means what nation you come from, as in like the land that you come from. It doesn't necessarily have to do with biblical seed line. Okay, this is Romans chapter 11 and verse 1. All right, Paul is a perfect example of this. I say then, hath the Most High cast away his people? Yahweh forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. Okay, so Paul is telling you, I'm an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. Okay, but then you go here, all right, into the book of Acts, and let me see. Okay, Acts chapter 22. So I'm looking for. Okay, Paul was about to get flogged. All right, he's about to get flogged, and the centurion. Let's just read it. Acts 22 and 25. And as they bound him with thongs, Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, Is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman and uncondemned? When the centurion heard that, he went and told the chief captain, saying, Take heed what thou doest, for this man is a Roman. Then the chief captain came and said unto him, Tell me, art thou a Roman? He said, Yea. And the chief captain answered, With a great sum I obtained this freedom. And Paul said, But I was free born. Okay, so Paul just told you in Acts 11 chapter that he's an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin, but he's also a Roman. See, so Christians, they automatically see a Roman centurion, all right, just like with Cornelius, and they automatically assume, oh, okay, well, that's talking about a so-called white person. That's talking about a heathen, all right, which not even also, like I said, it goes by the seed of your father. Not everybody who appears to be a so-called white is actually from the seed of Esau. They could be from another nation, another biblical seed line, or they could actually be a Jake, okay? Because it goes back to the seed of your father. Now that everybody has been scattered, all right, so that seed line is going to be, scattered all over, and it's going to come looking like many different people. And that's one thing that, is difficult for people to get for some reason, but there's no such thing as quote unquote mixed people. All right. Now, maybe in the physical, but in the seed line, the spirit, all right, no such thing as a so-called mixed spirit. All right. You either have the spirit of an Israelite because you're from the seed, a physical descendant of Jacob, or you have the seed of an Edomite or one of the other heathen nations. All right. It's just that simple. Now, another thing she said, well, there's a new gospel. All right. Before I go into that, also, it's the same thing today, okay? Paul was a Roman citizen, but he was also an Israelite. Just like we are Americans, but we're also Israelites. And we know, because the Spirit bears witness, that we are the sons of God. All right? Remember, the Israelites, the Lord poured His Spirit upon their seed, their physical descendants, and they would rise up and say that they're Israelites. So it's just prophecy being fulfilled. All right, the same thing is here today in America, okay? We're scattered all over the world, but primarily here in Babylon the Great. We're Israelites, but we're also, Americans, okay, by nationality, all right? Not biblical seed line, but nationality. Maybe you're from Brazil. You're Brazilian, but you could be from the tribe of Asher, all right? Or, wherever, all right? Maybe you were born, you're listening all the way from, I don't know, you're listening all the way from the Philippines, all right? But you could be of the northern kingdom or even of the southern kingdom possibly. All right, you might be an Israelite. Only way you know is through the Spirit, because you're going to have that great awakening. You're going to understand the scriptures, and you're going to prophesy. All right, you're going to have that urge to go out and speak the words of the Lord, or to just at least get involved in the ministry some way, somehow. All right, but anyways, moving on from that topic. Okay, she said there's a new gospel that is preached. This is another common fallacy, another common misconception that Christianity banks on, that people don't really understand the Bible, which most people don't. All right. So we're going to read exactly what the gospel is. Okay. According to the New Testament. Okay. Because the New Testament and the Old Testament agree with each other. The only way that they can push that replacement theology is if they tell you the Old Testament and New Testament contradict each other, that the Most High changed. When it tells you in Malachi 3 and 6 that the Most High changed not. All right. So anyways, Luke chapter 4 and verse 17. This is This is the gospel according to the New Testament. It says, and there was delivered unto him the prophet, the book of Isaiah, which is Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written. It says, verse 18, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he had anointed me to preach the gospel, meaning the good news, to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of the sight to the blind, and to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. All right. Salakia. So this is the gospel, and Yahushua, this was him speaking. All right, Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus, he himself quoted this. All right, now where did he get it from? He got it from Isaiah 61. All right. Isaiah 61. Hey, my nose running. Hang on, Salakia, bear with me. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, Salakia, I'm back. Okay, so this is what Yahushua was This is what he was quoting. All right, Isaiah 61 says, "The Spirit of the Lord Yahweh is upon me, because Yahweh hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh, and the day of vengeance of our power, our God, to comfort all that mourn." All right, so this is the gospel. Look what it says, verse 3. "To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified." Okay, so this is the gospel. All right, but look who it says, Isaiah 61:3, "To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion." Okay, let's see exactly. Zion is the memorial of the children of Israel. All right, I'm going to prove that right quick. Exactly who it's talking to. "To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion." Strong's H 6726. All right, to Zion. All right, as it is, I believe, in the Paleo Hebrew. To Zion. All right, it says a mountain of Jerusalem. All right, Zion equals a parched place. It says another name for Jerusalem, especially in the prophetic books, which Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. All right, so it's actually talking about the children of Israel. Okay, so going back to Isaiah 61. All right, this is who the gospel is for. All right, this is who the gospel is for. All right, it's for it's for Zion. All right, the children of Israel, or Jerusalem, which the elect, one of their names is known as the New Jerusalem. All right, Lord's will would be that number. Now let's go to the scripture that they always love to quote. I think it's here it is, Revelation 7:9. All right, it says, "After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our power, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb." Okay, so they read this and they see all nations, right? All nations and kindreds and people and tongues, and they think that it's literally every different biblical people on the face of the earth. All right, but if we go into this word, we go into the blue letter. All right, for that word kindreds. All right, it's gonna give some understanding on that, which is why we must go into the definitions of words. Okay, kindreds. Strong's G 5443. That word is phule. All right, and it says an offshoot, a race, or a clan, a kindred, a tribe. It says a tribe, and look at this, in the NT, which is for New Testament, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob. Okay, so the kindreds it's speaking about are all Israelites that are scattered. And where are they going to come from? All the different nations and people and tongues. All right, because you're going to have Israelites that are coming from you have Israelites that are going to come from Cappadocia and Galatia, and in today's time, America, all right, Jamaica, China, okay, I mean, wherever, China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, you're going to have Israelites in Egypt, all right, you're going to have Israelites in the Philippines, all right, Israelites in Brazil, all right, in Mexico, in Canada, in Australia, all right, wherever. So they're going to come, and they're going to speak a bunch of different languages, okay? If you're from Canada, maybe you grew up speaking French, which you got brothers out there that are making videos in French, all right? You got brothers in Holland that speak Dutch, okay? You have brothers in the Philippines that speak Tagalog, I think it's called, okay? And they're all calling on Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. They all having that same awakening. You have men out there preaching the word throughout the four corners of the earth. Now, it started here in Babylon, and most of the Israelites are here in Babylon, okay? But at the same time, the seed is scattered. And it even tells you that that Jacob, his bucket shall be in many waters. All right, meaning that waters representing people. So his seed is everywhere. All right, so that's what it's talking about. So yeah, you're gonna have Israelites that are of the elect that come out looking like so-called white people, some so-called Chinese people, so-called Arabs. All right, because you are the seed of your father. All right, regardless of what they look like on the outside, the seed, all right, which is the sperm, okay, it comes from the Father. That's where you get and that's where your spirit comes from. All right. Now, moving on. All right, it tells you this also in Psalms 22 and 27. It says, Salakia. All right, Psalms 22 and 27. It says, all the ends of the world shall remember and turn unto the Lord, and all the kindreds of the nations shall worship before thee. For the kingdom is the Lord's, and he is a governor among the nations. Okay? Which he will literally be a governor amongst the kindreds, the phule, all right, that are scattered, but and amongst the heathen, because we're gonna rule over them with the rod of iron, as it says in Revelation 2 and 26. All right, as was promised to the son, Yahushua, in Psalms, the 2nd chapter. All right, it was promised that the heathen would be given to him as an inheritance. Okay, but from amongst the heathen are going to be Israelites that are scattered and look like the heathen. All right, and some of them are going to be of the elect. All right, Isaiah 62 and 11. Behold, the Lord Yahweh hath proclaimed unto the end of the world. Proclaim what? Because remember, so the gospel must be preached throughout the four corners of the earth, and then the end shall come. Behold, the Lord has proclaimed unto thee, behold, the Lord has proclaimed unto the end of the world. Say ye to the daughter of Zion. All right, there we go, Zion again. That's who the gospel's for. Behold, thy salvation cometh. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. Okay, so, and let's just further prove that. I'm gonna close out with this scripture. All right, the second coming of the Lord, who is he coming to gather? We're going to read about it right here, right now. And these are the Gentiles that are spoken of in the New Testament. Okay, because people, they read that word Gentiles and they don't understand that it's talking about Israelite foreigners. When I say that, I'm talking about Israelites who are foreign to the culture and have been scattered into the nations, and they've picked up and taken on the cultures of whatever nation they're scattered in. And the woman said that. All right, she said, well, now they've become American. So you're American by nationality, and you were American before you came into this truth. You thought like an American. All right, you were, indoctrinated with quote unquote black American culture. But now, what? You've repented. All right, you repented and you've been converted, and now you're an Israelite, and you're living like an Israelite to the best of your ability. All right, and we say that because we're not in our rest right now. We're still in captivity. All right. We're still in captivity, so you're not able to perform the works of the law perfectly. All right? And let's prove that right quick. Let's prove that the Israelites are going to be delivered from the land of their captivity. Jeremiah 46 and 27. But fear not thou, O my servant Jacob, and be not dismayed, O Israel. For behold, I will save thee from afar off, and thy seed, there's that word, that seed again, from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and be in rest and at ease, and none shall make them afraid. So they're going to be saved from the land of their captivity. All right. Now let's see how that's going to happen. Okay. And this is what the Christians call the rapture. All right. But it's going to tell you here that it's for the Israelites. All right. And the Israelites only. And all right, that those Israelites are called Gentiles. This is Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. All right, that root of Jesse, speaking of Yahushua, okay, because he's from the lineage of Jesse and King David, okay, and it says, to it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. So the Gentiles are going to seek after him, and he's going to give them that rest that they so desire. All right, and look, it's going to tell you, who are these Gentiles? And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, So you're gonna have Israelites coming out of Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, all right, which is like Ethiopia, and from Elam, which is East India, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. So it's just saying they're all over the place. All right. Okay. Look now, who are his people? It's gonna tell you the remnant of his people, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and he shall assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. All right. That is who is speaking of, the outcast of Israel and the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. These are the Gentiles that are going to seek after him, and they're going to receive that rest. Okay, because why? They were in a Gentile state of mind until they repented and were converted. All right, now for the actual heathen nations, let's see what's going to happen to them. Okay, verse 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim, because the southern and northern kingdom were separated. All right, they went to war against each other multiple times, but they were separated and now being brought back together here in Babylon the Great as one, as it tells you in Ezekiel 37. All right, that they should become one nation. All right, it says, but they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. Philistines are the Hamites, so-called Africans. All right, they shall spoil them of the east together. Okay, and they shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. All right, so what's going to happen to the heathen nations? They're going to go into captivity. They're going to be inheritances of the children of Israel. The heathen nations are going to obey them. They're going to be their servants. And that's in the gospel. All right, that's in that Isaiah 61. If I would have kept reading, it tells you that. Okay, if I keep reading that Isaiah 61, all right, right here, verse 5. All right. I shall start at 4. And they shall build the old waste, they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations, because this whole society, this whole world is going to be destroyed. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the aliens shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. But ye shall be named the priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, the actual Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. So they're going to be out there working in our fields, and we're going to take and possess their wealth as well. All right. And why? It says, verse 7, for your shame ye shall have double, and for your confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess the double, everlasting joy shall be unto them. All right. So everlasting joy, the gospel, the good news is going to be unto them, unto Zion. All right. The rest of the nations, like I said, they're going to go into captivity, and that's just what it is. All right. And ultimately, like I said, that's what they're really afraid of. That's what they're trying to slow down this great awakening. But it's not going to happen. It's too late. It's already in motion. You can't stop what the Lord says he's going to do. This is his counsel, and he's going to do his pleasure. Isaiah 46:10. All right. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. So if it's written, it's going to happen. Ain't nothing you could do about it. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to close out. Lord's will, it was edifying, and I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. All right. And with that being said, Shalom. On to the next one.